Hi everybody, my name is Raj and I'm from Calm Breath, and this video is all about what is OCD and how to overcome it. Alright, so in this video we're going to be talking about a couple of things. Number one, we're going to be talking about OCD and drilling down a little more than what is generally spoken about on all internet videos and articles. So we're going to be understanding not just the loop of OCD, which is the obsession, anxiety, compulsions and relief, but more than that, we're going to be drilling down into detail that what exactly are obsessions and what is causing these obsessions. So you'll have more information about the same. So we'll break down OCD in a little more detailed fashion. The other thing that we're going to be talking about this video is that we're going to talk about some natural methods that are used, that I mentor people to use and help them overcome OCD, because I've personally gone through it, and an exercise at the end of the video that you can start immediately from today itself, which will help you reduce your OCD symptoms and help you in your OCD recovery and this thing that you're fighting for a very, very long time. So a little about me, what is making me qualified to speak about this subject. So my name is Raj and I am been an entrepreneur for almost all my life. I have started multiple companies in the past, and so from a materialistic point of view, I had done very, very well for myself in my past years. So what the problem was that when I was 32, 33, that it was the onset of OCD for me. And during that time, initially it didn't make any sense. Sometimes I even used to shrug it off as a funny thing. So, but later on, when OCD reached, in a couple of years, when it reached its peak, then I realized that OCD is nothing short of hell, and I wasn't able to come out of this loop. So, anything that you might think of, therapies, etc., were all tried, but nothing really worked. Nothing was getting me back to the same kind of peace of mind that I had experienced in my life before, and I was like wondering what exactly is happening to me. And anyone who has gone through OCD knows that what it's all about. So I was going through 4 to 5 different types of OCDs. Almost all of them were at the severe and extreme levels because they were taking so much of my time a day. The compulsions were so huge. But anyhow, I was extremely fortunate enough to meet a mentor who helped me overcoming my OCD via just natural methods. So initially I was very skeptical about it, but of course I will talk about this in more detail in the coming slides. So that is the reason why I founded Calm Breath, and through this Calm Breath and through this organization, I wanted to spread awareness about OCD and tell people that yes, there is a way out of this problem and one should not lose hope. And I'm going to be talking more about this in my other videos as well. So that's a little about me. So you can think of me as a mentor and not a doctor, sharing my experience and share how I did it. So let's understand now. So this is the vicious loop of OCD. We are all aware of this: the obsessions, the anxiety, the compulsion, and the relief. Now, what are these obsessions? The obsessions are nothing but intrusive thoughts that come to a person. These thoughts are uncomfortable. These thoughts create a lot of distress in a person. I'm going to be sharing a video right now that's going to play of Lily Pons, who is a comedian and a very famous singer in the United States, and she recently came out with a web series talking about her OCD. So I'm going to use one example to explain this entire process. So here's the video.
It got to a point that I could not move from my car, and I stayed an hour there doing some rituals and touching things, and my dad had to carry me out of the car. And then after that, he was like, there's something wrong with my daughter, like, this is weird.
I began to know that she had something bad when she began to touch 3 times the door of my room. And I told her, why you do that? Because one is for me, one for my father, and one for your mom. I remember.
I just had to touch everything. And if I didn't touch everything, like I thought my family was gonna die. So I started touching everything. I was afraid of doors.
After that,
Alright, so now that we've seen the video, we can understand OCD in a much better fashion and with a simple example of a child going through OCD. Now, in Lily Pons' case, what was the obsession? The obsession, the uncomfortable thought, was that something bad is going to happen to her or her parents. So that caused a lot of anxiety. Now, a lot of people get obsessions. A lot of people get bad thoughts, I would like to correct, in their mind, but they generally like to shrug it off. It's okay. And the thoughts come, They feel bad for a while and the thought moves on and they move on. But in case of OCD, these negative thoughts become an obsession. That is why we call it OCD, Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, because the thoughts are like continuous. They are not leaving you alone. And of course, if a bad thought is not leaving you alone, it is bound to create anxiety. And that, of course, is the next step. So in Lily Pond's case, this bad thought about something happening to her and her parents caused anxiety. Now she had to do something to overcome this anxiety. So as a coping mechanism in her own mind, she devised a new thing. That what she did was that she touched 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and these 3 touches provided safety in her mind to her parents, herself, and she felt a little comfortable. Now, what is this touching? This touch is called a compulsion. A compulsion is an action or a thought, or sometimes both, that a person needs to do to reduce this anxiety that is caused by the obsession. So when she did this compulsion, she automatically felt relief, because that is the objective of the compulsion. She felt relief. She said, okay, fine, now that I've touched 3 times, I am safe, my parents are safe. But the problem with OCD is that this next obsession, this loop again, could start actually working in the next 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour, but it will start again, and the entire cycle would come again and again and again, and this exactly becomes disorder. So now that you have a clear understanding about what OCD is all about, let's move on to the next slide. I am not going to be talking about this area called triggers. Triggers, I'll just quickly give a small briefing. Triggers are nothing but things that avoid you of your obsessions. Now, for example, if Lily Pons was walking down the street and she saw a big truck, the truck could be a trigger to her obsession that my parents could meet with an accident and they could all die. So the triggers could be millions of triggers. So we're not going to even talk about them, because we can't really hide away from triggers all our lives. That's not the right way to live. So we go and work on the core of the problem, which is the obsessions. So let's understand a little more about them. Now, we've understood what obsessions are. These are intrusive thoughts. But what exactly is behind these obsessions and these intrusive thoughts? We've never thought about them, because we're always continuously going round and round in that loop. What fuels these thoughts with so much power that they cause so much distress in us? And what is the hidden enemy behind this entire vicious loop, which we ignore because we're always in a state of anxiety and panic? So the answer to that is fear. Fear is the emotion that is completely behind all our obsessions. Now, this goes in every OCD. This is not different from OCD to OCD. This will be in your existential OCDs. This will be in your touch OCDs. This would be in your hand wash OCD. This could be in your relationship OCD. Any sort of OCD, the core of that is fear. And if you don't understand it right now, this is a new idea to you. So I'll try and understand yourself with whatever OCD that you have. What is the fear behind it? What is the thought, the obsession that you have? What is the hidden fear behind it? And you'll get to an answer. So in almost all OCDs, this is the fear. This is the problem. The fear is the emotion behind it. But the difference is that it is not just any fear. It is almost always unreal fears. So let's understand. Let's understand fear in a little more way, in a little better way. So without fears, our obsessions don't have any power on us. Think about it. Makes sense. If they were just thoughts, if they did not accompany with so many intensive emotions, we would not be bothered about them in the first place. And in OCD, the second thing to understand is that the fears that we have are almost always unreal. Yes, that is true. I mean, we've already washed our hands, we've already locked the door, we've already done everything. Now thinking again after 5 minutes is illogical, and that is an unreal fear. Now let's understand quickly what is the difference between a real and an unreal fear. Alright, so let's assume that you have gone to scuba diving in Bali, for example, in shark-infested waters. Now at that point in time, of course, if you are fearful that the shark might just attack you from somewhere, that is a real and a very natural fear. In fact, this fear should always be there, considering that you have to be on your guard all the time. You need to be prepared and you need to be alert. So that is a very real fear. But if you have the same kind of fear that a shark will attack you in your local swimming pool or in your backyard swimming pool, that is a completely unreal fear. In OCD, our fears are always unreal. This is something, why am I repeating this again and again? Because you have to absorb it. You have to understand it completely, that your fears are unreal. So what is happening to us? Even if we know that our fears are unreal, what's really happening to us? Why are we not able to grow above it? What's wrong with us? So the answer to that is this. When there's fear, our intelligence becomes zero. And this is a very fact. This is the one fact that you have to understand. When fear comes to us, when fear attacks us, it makes our intelligence absolutely nada. We freeze, we don't know what to do, our logics fail, and that is the reason why we are not able to reason with our OCDs, because the strength of the fear is always too much. Now this, as an example, is the small, our intelligence is so huge, but this little fear is able to completely block it. But what's actually happening? Let's understand again this in more detail. Now, a lot of people say that, OCD hits our intelligence, which I've just told in the past video. But it's not just every intelligence. For the level of understanding, let's put it like this. So, when we say that the intelligence level falls, it doesn't mean that they become dumb. It doesn't mean that they stop becoming successful in their careers, that they're no longer talented, and their intelligence in every other core sector of their life just vanishes. No, that is not the case. For the sake of understanding, let's understand that there is a difference between our first intelligence and our other intelligences. A person would be great at their work, relationships, creativity, etc., etc. But this is their first intelligence. Our first intelligence basically tells us the difference between right and wrong, the difference between understanding what is real and what is unreal, and so on and so forth. So what is happening in the case of an OCD person is that their first intelligence, the level of their first intelligence, has significantly come down. And that is the reason why they are unable to fight with their compulsions, their obsessive thoughts, their anxieties, and so on and so forth. And this is the core problem, what fear is doing to the person. Of course, since it's one of the first intelligences, when it falls, it has a dominoes effect on all our other sectors of our life. That means our creativity, our work, our relationships, our everything, and our zeal to live life all get affected by this first fear. So let's understand this thing. Let's just take this an example as an analogy. Now this is a little boy here, and this bulb right here is our intelligence. When the room is dark and when our intelligence does not work, OCD as an illness and all these demons, I would like to call OCD as an illness. This has a lot of demons there, because that's always putting us in a state of fear. So when the room is dark and when we have OCD, all these demons and these ghosts are able to affect us and make us fearful, and our intelligence is not working, so it keeps on doing the same thing, keeps scaring us all the time. So the next question is that how do we switch on this light? So coming to this point is that if our intelligence fails completely in front of fear, our intelligence works the best when we are in a calm state of mind. Of course, it might not sound really accurate to you right now, but you'll get the idea how it works. So when we are in a calm state of mind, our intelligence is at its best. It's not that when we are in a very, very happy state of mind, that our intelligence is working. Our intelligence might not be working at a happy state of mind or in a very sad state of mind, but it works the best when we are in a calm state of mind. And when this little intelligence bulb goes on and full of light, then of course the room lights up, and all these demons that were trying to attack us in the dark, they just vanish like this. So this is the entire concept of what and where I'm going in terms of the solution to OCD. So how do we reach a calm state of mind? So that's a logical question. And the answer to that is right under our nose. Our breath holds the key to a calm state of mind, and that in itself is a key to overcoming OCD. Now, I know you're gonna start with your weapons in your hands, that how is this even possible, and what you're saying is absolutely cuckoo, and this doesn't make any sense at all, and I can fully understand that. And I'm going to get to these questions at the last of the slide. So for 5 minutes, just put your weapons down with the argument that this is all baloney and it's not going to make sense. So let's understand this. So to understand this breath, how our breaths will help us overcoming our OCD, we'll have to understand the science of breathing. Now, the science of breathing is not made by me. The science of breathing has been there for the past thousands of years and in multiple civilizations. In India, it is known as pranayama. I would like you to go and search for it after seeing this video. Pranayama is one of the ancient techniques, and there are multiple types of breathing techniques for different purposes. This is what really helped me overcoming my OCD, which was at a very, very bad level. So I know this works, and I have full belief in it. So pranayama is the science of breathing. So let's understand how it works. Here's a quick example. If you understand, and here's a clear understanding of it, understanding of what breathing does with this example. So please bear with me and understand for 2 minutes this reasoning. Now, all our emotions are there. Now, what is the first thing that is actually connected to our emotion? The first thing that is connected to our emotions is our breath. Now, think about it yourself. When we are angry, our breathing pattern is very different. When we are sad, our breathing pattern is that long sigh of breath. When we are angry, it's like that huff and puff. We're breathing very quickly. And when we are happy, every single emotion of ours has a very different kind of breathing pattern. Okay, so the question remains that if our emotions are changing our breathing pattern, can we change our breathing pattern to change our emotions? So that is the science, and the answer to that is, of course, yes, this is very much possible, and that is the logic behind breathing techniques. Now, of course, there are different kind of breathing techniques, but what is the specific breathing technique that would work specifically on OCD? Let's understand the breathing and etc. what I've just discussed in a little biological way as well. When we are going through OCD, our stress levels and our stress hormones like cortisol are off through the roof. That is causing a lot of distress in us, and that is keeping us continuously in a state of distress all the time. Our happy hormones, of course, are low. That is the reason why we go into depression with OCD, and we are not able to feel happiness, and we are continuously sad. Now, what these breathing techniques also do is that they bring the stress hormones down, and they bring and automatically regulate and naturally regulate your happy hormones in you when you continuously start doing them. So that is a biological way of understanding this, what happens to our body and our hormone systems internally doing these breathing exercises. So what was happening before? Here's a quick chart. In the first example, when we are going through OCD, we are overcome by fear. Fear resulted in our low intelligence. Our low intelligence led us to have our obsessions have a high impact on us. When the obsessions had a high impact on us, it led to anxiety, and then it led to compulsions. Okay, but now when we started doing these breathing exercises, and when we are now in a calm state of mind, of course, after a couple of months when we start doing it, when we're in a calm state of mind, our intelligence is high. Automatically, when the intelligence is high, there is a low impact of obsessions. And when there is a low impact of obsessions, the cycle of OCD breaks. Then there is no longer the anxiety that comes with the obsessions, and then there is no longer requirement to do any kind of compulsions. Now, coming to the initial thing, breathing, of course. I don't believe it. This is nonsense. This is baloney. I have been there myself. Now, the common beliefs are this is not going to work. I understand that. It's too simple and it sounds too good to be true. OCD is for life. There is absolutely no cure. Of course, the word cure is something, on thin line, because even with the breathing exercises, you have to continuously do them for the rest of your life to net, even when you overcome, even after you overcome OCD, so that it doesn't reoccur again. So the word cure might not be the best thing. What we can say is that, yes, there is a way to overcome it. Exposure therapies and meds are the only best possible options. You have to suffer OCD for the entirety of your life. Whatever I have tried before has failed. This too will fail, and I can understand and agree with all of them because I have personally been there. When I talk about my mentor, he was probably one of the people who advised me to do and to use these steps to overcome OCD, and I did not believe him. I said, I've suffered from this. You're telling me that my breathing exercises is the solution to such a big problem where the entire world is going through this, and people have been suffering from OCD for the past 10, 20, 30 years, and I was wrong. And that is the reason for me to make this video again, that I was wrong. And so for some time, it is a request of mine to just let go of these common beliefs that we have. So in order to prove myself, and of course, no matter what I say is not worthwhile, and you shouldn't believe me. You should not believe me at all. You should try something yourself and see if it works for you. So today in this video, there's a link below of a breathing technique that I'm mentioning. It is one of the breathing techniques that I mentor to my students and help people overcoming OCD. It's one of the first few breathing techniques. So I want you to go through this video, and what you need to do is try these breathing exercises for no less than 40 days. You have to, but there are some prerequisites to it for it to work and for you to see some success in it. So what is it? It's number one, it's completely free of cost. There is no money. Just click the link, understand how it works, understand how you have to do it throughout the day, how many times you have to do it throughout the day, and so on and so forth. So it'll take 20 to 30 minutes a day. It's not a small thing. It's not going to just take 5 minutes. It is going to take 20 to 30 minutes daily. It requires your dedicated effort. You can't even skip it for a day if you need to see its output, its benefits. You have to do it every single day. And once you do it every single day, what generally I get from my students is that within the first month, they are able to overcome and make progress in their OCD from 30 to 40%. I know you're not going to believe me, because during OCD, of course, our willpower, our hopes and everything are tremendously down. But what's the harm in trying it? That's all I'm trying to say. You will, if others have seen this, and if I've personally seen this, or I've personally overcome it, then you too would be able to do that. There is no reason why it won't work. So if you start doing it for just 30 days and to 40 days, you do it every single day, see your OCD symptoms coming down yourself. And that is it. So I would like to thank you for spending time on this video. I hope I've been able to give this message and pass on this message as clear as I possibly can. And do this technique. And I'm going to be making more videos on this channel on OCD, answering questions, etc., a lot. So please subscribe and share this video to whoever requires it. And one last thing is, do not lose hope. Do not lose hope at all. That is the worst thing that one can do. Keep it up. Keep progressing, keep doing this, keep trying. There is a way out. You don't have to feel that there is no way out of this. There is definitely a way out, and an example is right in front of you. So thank you so much, and I hope you guys recover fast and get on with your happy lives once more. Thank you so much.